Don't directly connect GMI. Oh. No. Well, okay, perfect. Very good afternoon. My name is Fawaz. I'm a first-year PhD student at RNR-Map. The title of my presentation is Unifying Textual Explanations for Vision and Vision Language Tasks. So let's consider a machine learning model which performs image classification. Given this input image, it classifies it as a robin. A robin is a type of bird. Now, we're mainly interested to understand why the model predicted a bird and what caused this prediction. So using this prediction, we can run an explanation algorithm which outputs the reasoning process of how the model functions. For example, it may be something like a heat map, highlighting the important regions for the prediction. But as you can see, this heat map is actually very general and very high level. It just highlights the main object in the scene. Indeed, it does tell us that the model was focusing on the main object, but it doesn't really dissect this explanation, if you wish. It doesn't provide the distinctive features that influence the prediction. And if you take different ImageNet categories and apply RadCam to them, then this is what you get. You get exactly the same thing. All of them are highlighting the main object. So this is not really helpful. So the problem with current, or not current, but most explainable AI techniques is that they're very general and high level, and they're not really human friendly. For example, my mother and my father don't really understand what these things are, right? But so you really need something that's a bit more human friendly, something that's interpreted to a layman user. On the other hand, we have this form of textual explanations. So this provides us with distinctive fine-grained concepts in a textual format. For example, red breast, grayish brown back, white belly, and so on. But not just that, also how they interact with each other, right? So they uncover the second order information, not just the first order information. So this is much more human friendly to us. Everyone can read it and understand it, and it's much more detailed, of course. And this is the topic of natural language explanations. These are a step towards human friendly explanations. I'm going to just make a bit of notations here. So we're going to call the model which performs the classification task, or performs the task at hand, as the answering model. And then we're going to call a model which generates the explanation as the explainer model. So we have two different models right here. Before I continue, I'd like to emphasize that these natural language explanations are not really explanations in the sense that we think about, because a model is explicitly trained to generate these textual explanations. So don't take it too serious as an explanation. The other way you can think about it is just supplementary information concerning the predicted outcome. Previously, back in the good old days, 2 years ago, we had a pre-trained model fine-tuned on huge amounts of data. And then pre-trained on huge amounts of vision language data, and then you fine-tune it for each task that you want. So if you have n tasks, that means you will have n models as a result. But now what we're really shifting to in vision language research is a single model for all tasks. So you have one model which performs all the n tasks simultaneously. And this has, of course, lots of advantages. For example, you can have zero-shot capabilities. You have n times less parameters because you're performing n tasks in one single model. Also, the tasks are very similar, so they can actually learn from each other. A bit on the hype of textual explanation models. What we had previously was a stack of 4 different models: a vision backbone, a region proposal network, an answering model, and an explainer model. And you have, of course, n of these models for n different tasks. Last year, CDPR, we had a paper called NLX GPT, which unifies the answering and an explainer model into a single model. So, because otherwise they're just independent pipelines. The reasoning process is different. When you apply explainable AI, you have to apply it on the same model which gave the prediction. So this is what NLX GPT does, and they do it in a very small and compact size model. But the problem is that they still have to fine-tune the model for n different tasks. So at the end, they still have n models specialized for n tasks. Now, in this work in Uni-NLX, we're just going to take a step further from NLX GPT and unify all tasks into this simple, small-sized compact model, which we call Uni-NLX. So this model can simultaneously perform 7 different tasks at once. Okay, now let's talk about how we actually generate these explanations. We're living in the century of large language models, so why not use them to help us generate data sets? So what we do is we prompt a large language model and ask it to describe physical features and characteristics of a specific category from ImageNet. For example, the first category is the tench, it's a type of fish, and this is what the large language, the LLM outputs. It's basically a description describing the tench in natural language. We actually generate 50 of these explanations per category. So we have 1,000 categories for ImageNet. We generate 50 for each, and we end up with 144,000 samples. And we apply some Tesny visualizations. Some explanations are actually very similar to each other, and some of them are very unique and form different clusters. Now let's talk about how we can actually utilize a large language model, text-only LLM, without images, to create vision language datasets. So fortunately, we have many long text vision language datasets available, such as the image paragraph captioning task. This is an example of the image paragraph captioning task. You have an image paired with its paragraph, and this paragraph is extremely rich in the description, which actually makes it enough for the large language model to understand the image without relying on any image, because this paragraph is extremely detailed. It describes the image in full detail. So this is enough for the large language model to have a complete understanding of the image. So we do some prompt engineering, and we attach this, we concatenate the prompt and this paragraph together to the large language model, and we ask it to reformulate this paragraph into question-answer explanation triplets. So at the end, you have this paragraph converted into a question and an answer, and also supported by an explanation. We generate 6 question-answer explanation triplets, and we end up with another dataset called PQA-Para-X, which consists of 123,000 samples. The datasets that we're going to train on are 7 datasets. We have 2 vision datasets, action recognition and visual recognition. We have 2 visual reasoning tasks, visual entailment and visual common sense reasoning, VCR. And we have 3 visual question answering tasks. In total, all of them, they form 1 million samples, which is in this century very small compared to large scale data sets, but together we're going to unify all of them together into a standard format and train this model on them. So at the end, we have a model that can perform 7 tasks simultaneously on all these 3 different vision language tasks. These are the quantitative results, lots of information. You're definitely not going to go through the tables. The conclusion is that the model achieves comparable performance comparable performance on 4 tasks compared to the task-specific models, but it actually outperforms them on 3 tasks. So this is with 7 times fewer parameters, of course, and with 1 model simultaneously for all tasks. We also perform ablation studies on the data sets. I'll skip this, but we can take it offline later. Let me just quickly go through CLIP, how we can perform CLIP ZeroShot transfer. So the standard way of doing CLIP ZeroShot transfer is you convert your ImageNet categories into text prompts, you encode them through the textual encoder, and you also encode your image through the image encoder, and then you just simply find the similarity of the image feature vector to each of the textual feature prompts, right? And then the maximum one is your predicted class. This year, ICCV, there's another paper called Couple also. They utilize a GPT model to generate physical and distinctive features of a specific class. and they outperform baseline CLIP. And also at NeurIPS this year, there's a paper called Laughter, which does exactly the same thing. They generate physical features of ImageNet categories using a large language model. They encode them through the text encoder, but then they also attach a text classifier on top of them, right? So they train a text classifier on the textual features. Then at inference time, you just simply feed the image feature, the image to the vision, to the CLIP vision encoder, and then you feed it to the text classifier. And this is possible because the vision encoder and the text encoder are trained with contrastive learning. They basically share the same visual semantic embedding space. So the text classifier, so you can perfectly feed in the vision feature to the text classifier. Okay, this is perfect, but they all necessitate the need for a large language model, right? Think about if you want to deploy these models on the edge. How are you going to store a 176 billion parameter on the edge? What will be the implications of the speed? You try ChatGPT, it's actually fast, but this is because it's running on OpenAI servers. If you try it on the edge device or on the edge hardware, it's not going to be that fast. Okay, so on the other hand, our model contains 91 million parameters and it's much more faster. Therefore, it can eliminate the need of this large language model. And we finally perform results on zero-shot transfer. Overall, our model achieves 1.7 increase in CLIP zero-shot transfer. And we discovered that this prompt, the baseline CLIP has this prompt, a photo of a class label, which achieves 64.9 top 1 accuracy. But then if you attach an explanation with this prompt, you actually get your top 1 accuracy reduced to 63.8. But when you switch to the prompt, how can you identify rather than a photo of, you actually get an improvement of 65.5. And then this makes us wonder whether this prompt, how can you identify, is actually also brings positive improvements in baseline CLIP. And when we test it on baseline CLIP, then we find that the top 1 accuracy degrades to 61.7. So in conclusion, the prompt, how can you identify, performs the best when you have an explanation, but performs the worst when you don't have an explanation. There's other details in the prompts, but we can take this offline if you're interested. Yeah, thank you very much. The code, pre-trained models, and datasets are available on GitHub. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Francesco Taioli, and today I present our latest paper, Language Enhanced RNR-Map, pairing readable neural radiance field maps with natural language. So embodied AI is receiving a lot of attention nowadays with interesting yet very challenging tasks, such as visual question answering, image goal navigation, and object goal navigation. And this work, we try to following the following question. So can we create an explicit map representation that is useful to solve different tasks simultaneously? So inspired by RNR-Map, we consider an agent exploring a scene. And during the exploration, we encode the RGB feature into the grid map through a registration process. Later on, we can retrieve this latent code given a post P. And also to perform a natural language search, we embed into the map a multimodal feature extracted from the CLIP text encoder, image encoder. So the full pipeline is this. We save into the map feature from 2 different encoders. We concatenate them and we save into the map. Another important part of our pipeline is NERF. NERF can be used to generate a scene view from a novel viewpoints. And in this work, we consider a generative scene network that decomposes the scene into local radiance field. And moreover, GSM can render images from latent codes. So the full pipeline is shown here. We start with the map creation. Like I said before, we embed the feature into the map. Later on, we can query the map like a couch in front of a windows in a living room. At this time, we extract the feature from the CLIP text encoder. We perform cosine similarity over all the map, and we find the location with the maximum score. At this point, through the latent code saved into the map, we can perform like a navigation proposal with an earth reconstruction. So starting from the starting point to the target location. Some results. So instead of searching like for only the prompt, we find useful to include also in the query negative prompts like things, stuff, texture, and object. In the paper, there are also other prompts, and we empirically find that this negative prompt allows us to improve the success rate and also to improve the fine-grained similarity on the maps, like you can see in the images. These are the results. We can see that with the negative prompt, we can see a small increment in the success rate and also in the distance to success metrics. Another important thing is that we can also query the map with high-level query, like where I can wash my hands. To do this, we perform a query with a language model like a GPT. We extract the target location, and we then perform the search into the map. This is a video that I can show it due to time purposes. Future work will include how to deal with line map update, like how to deal with when the environment changes, and also how to use this type of map as an auxiliary task to improve the generalization of the agent when solving object go navigation. You can find more this link and also our post. Thank you.
I'm Muhammad Ali from Muhammad bin Zayed University of AI. Today,
Okay, for the next spotlight speaker, so we'll play this video because he's not on site.
Muhammad bin Zayed University of AI. Today, I'm going to talk about CLIP-Decoder application units and avoid Muhammad bin Zayed University of AI. Today, I'm going to talk ZeroShot classification is a very interesting area which actually tries to predict the labels of the images which model doesn't see. Today I'm going to talk about CLIP-Decoder. Today I'm going to talk about CLIP-Decoder, ZeroShot, multi-label classification using multi, and I worked along with my supervisor, Dr. Salman Khan. This is the topic, this agenda of today's talk. ZeroShot classification is a very interesting area which actually tries to predict the labels of the images which model doesn't show.
Thank you. Can you share something? No, not just in focus on team. Just one is yes, it's here.
Today, multimodal clip-aligned representations, and I worked along with my supervisor, Dr. Salman Khan. This is the topic, this agenda of today's talk. ZeroShot classification is a very interesting area which actually tries to predict the labels of the images which model doesn't see while it is being trained. And top of it, if it is a case of the multi-label scenario, then it gets more complicated because same image can contain multiple unseen labels, and our task was to improve this recognition, and this was basically our motivation to work in this domain. And we will try to predict the labels based on, as you can see in this image, that we will try to predict the relevant probabilities more similar to the images. So coming straight to the methodology, we used TraceNet for the image embeddings, which is actually a high performance variant of ResNet, which capture visual access of the images quite better. For the text embeddings, we use CLIP-Decoder. As we all know, CLIP is exceptional in aligning textual and visual representation. We also defined our custom templates. So we pass the labels through it to get the relevant templates, and then pass it to the text encoder to get the embeddings. And similarly, from the TraceNet, we got the image embeddings, and then we pass through the cross attention, which we can see at the bottom figure, that the image embeddings from the TraceNet is coming, and then the text queries, these are multiplied, get the attention scores, which actually tries to attend to the relevant portion of the image which these labels can correspond to, and then pass to the feed forward layer to get a little more complexity in the network. And then we get the group queries processing stage, which is actually a two-step process in which first we use the fixed number of queries, group queries, which actually defines one query define the multiple classes, and then the second part is to expand it with relevant to the number of the classes and pool this dimension and for the prediction of the specific logic. This this idea we took it from the ML decoder. For the inference stage and the training stage, there was a little difference that for the training we used the scene queries and the image embeddings were the same, and we get the probability distribution logits, and we use the sigmoid in this case and by this cross entropy instead of softmax. Well, we can use that too. For the case of the testing, we use unseen queries and pass it through the CLIP-Decoder and get the results. These are our contribution. As I have already discussed, we defined the custom templates, weighted loss, in which we also defined the clip loss, combination of the clip loss and the cross entropy loss, which also help us improve the performance. In the clip loss tries to reduce the difference between the improve the actually the similarity between the textual embeddings and the visual embeddings. Or the cross entropy tries to reduce the loss between or difference between the predicted labels and the ground truth label. And as we can see, we got the improved results. These are our evaluation study in which we use the cross entropy loss and also the clip loss, and using prompts, and we get these results. Similarly, for the state of the art comparison, we compare it with the existing model and we got better results. These are some visualization in which we got the diverse categories, prediction, and sometimes we got occasional over prediction. These are our references which we used, and thank you very much for listening to me. Any question you can approach me.